Welcome back to another amazing episode of the FitBiz Journey podcast. So today, guys, I'm here in New York City, West Village, and I am doing a Q&A. I have not done that for a while, but the past few months, you guys have sent me tons and tons and tons of questions that I wanted to... Basically, I went through it all last night. It took me a few hours. I appreciate it, by the way, guys. Thank you so much. That means a lot that you guys actually have tons of questions. That means you're paying attention and you basically trust my opinion on these questions because you asked these questions to me. And so I wanted to, basically just go over the questions. What I did is I categorized 5 of them and the top 5 most asked questions that you guys have sent. And by the way, if you want to send more questions, you don't know where to send them, just send it on Instagram. You can find me at Daniel Z Nieri, which if anybody knows what the Z stands for. Nope. So the Z is actually stands for my middle name, which is Zoltan. Yep, in case you didn't know that. Cool, right? Hopefully. So anyways, so it's Daniel Z Nieri is basically my Instagram. You can message me there, or you can also message and find us at FitBiz Podcast. That's also our Instagram. You can message there too. And you can also message Parida. You can also find her on Instagram, and which is Parida P. Patel. I believe it's her Instagram. And then lastly, you can send us email, which is FitBiz, so FITBIZ, just like the podcast. So FitBiz at foryou-fitness.com. We'll probably put in the right here or here somewhere. Michelangelo will add in the actual link so you guys can send the questions. But anyways, let's get started. So I printed out the questions, the top 5 ones. Oh, and since this is going to be air probably on the Monday when I already see the hurricane is coming, so I hope you guys stay away from Dorian, the hurricane, and everything is fine in Florida, Carolina, and all the touching East Coast, I guess, because who knows where it's going to go. But stay safe, okay? So let's start. So first question, how to love what you do? Now that's a pretty big question that came up many times. So I assume lots of personal trainers and gym owners basically find it's pretty hard, because here's the thing. When you're a personal trainer, you become a personal trainer because you love what you do, right? And then most of the personal trainers, when they transition into become a gym owners, they start to hate what they do because they're doing so many things now, and not just that one thing that they started personal training, which is helping people. So to love helping people or love training or love whatever the love was when they started personal training is now so pushed away because they're doing so many businessy and business things, from taxes to accounting, hiring, firing, leadership roles, so many things, right? So there's a few things. It's a lots of new things and people don't really like, change. That's one of it. But second is, think about it this way. Like, there are salespeople, right? And most people and gym owners and personal trainers that I have met usually don't like sales. And do you guys know why they don't like sales? That's because they're not good at it. Just like I don't really like baseball because I'm not good at baseball. I don't really like soccer because I'm not very good at soccer. I love hockey because I'm really good at hockey. Does that make sense? So look at it this way. So many personal trainers and gym owners I have met have said me and told me many times that I just hate sales because I don't want to be one of those pushy salespeople. Well, here's the thing, guys. The really good salespeople don't even sound like salespeople. Does that make sense? Because what you picture in your mind when you think of salespeople is you like thinking of a car salesman, right? Like a pushy, buy, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. But that's completely different because everybody's selling. I'm selling you right now about selling, and then you are selling yourself that you don't want to be a salesperson, right? So that's sales one-on-one. And the same thing when you talk to your wife, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, client, have a conversation at a grocery store. Everybody is selling at any given time. So basically get over that, because you have to get better at sales. It's just part of life, but I will show you in a second how to do that. And then think about it this way, that the more you practice, the better you get at sales. And the more you practice at something, the more you're gonna like it because you get better at it. Like playing at the piano. At first it might suck and challenge you and you might hate it. But then once you start playing your favorite song and then you get the surroundings and start liking it and everything, then all of a sudden, oh my God, I love playing on a piano, right? It might be a relief for you. So same thing with sales. There are amazing salespeople that you can't even tell they just sold you on many things. How many times did you sign up for some sort of a class? How many times you listen to this podcast even because I sold you only to listen to it, right? You had some sort of a pain that you're looking for a solution, and then that's it. But that's what selling is. You find their pain point and then basically Just give them the solution. That's it. It's not pushy salespeople, buy, sales, whatever, 100 off, 200 off, that kind of stuff, right? So that's not it. So same thing here. If you learn and practice something, then eventually you become better and you eventually start liking it. And then that's just one thing. But the second thing is the why. And I believe that was one of nope, that wasn't the questions, but basically it comes up with this too, that with the why, right? So why did you even start this business? And it's very important that it's not only the why you started it, but I think it's almost more important question is where you want to go and what you want to accomplish in the next 10, 100, 50 years, right? Because if you don't know where you're going, then you're going to be one of those ships out in the ocean that just floating all around without any destinations, and you will never get there. I mean, think about it. When you get into your car to go somewhere, you know exactly where you're going, so you take the quickest route. But if you don't know where you will be going, you'll be just going around town. What's the point of that, right? Well, so many business owners, that's what they do. They don't know where they're going, so they just show up every day, do some work, leave, and they have no idea what the hell is going on. They don't know when it's the end. Is there an end? Or what you're working towards to, right? So if you don't have that, where you're going, what's the destination, then the work gonna be really, really hard, guys. So think about this. Arnold Schwarzenegger said this many, many times, and he came from absolutely nothing. He came from Austria, technically Hungary. It's border country, it used to be Hungary back in the day, before the Second World War. But anyways, what I'm trying to tell you guys is that, just think about this. So even Arnold said that the only reason why he was always smiling when he was doing, working out in the gym, doing additional reps and everything, and everybody there who was working out with him asked him all the time, Arnold, how come that you're always so happy? And then he would say, well, what do you mean? I'm happy because I'm working towards my goals. And then I can see myself with each curl that I'm curling, I can see myself and picturing in my hand the trophy that I'm going to win when I become Mr. Universe. So for him, doing that extra curl made sense, because he's not doing it because he likes working out, and he even said he didn't like working out, by the way, but he loved the process to get shit done, basically, because he knew if he's doing this, he's going to get that. And that's how you're going to love what you do, and that's how you're not going to burn out. So A, you get better at it, you practice, but B, you need to know where you're going and why you're even doing it. Because, for example, if there's something that you absolutely hate doing, then why are you even doing it if it's not going to get you where you need to go? And then eventually you need to obviously delegate those parts that you don't like. And there are now so many places to delegate. Even if you're a tiny or small company, you can use Fiverr.com, get a virtual assistant, and get done all your emails, get done all your taxes, get done so many things. There's so many micro companies. I mean, there's so many companies that have micro companies for so much cheaper. If, for example, if you don't use SaneBox right now, then you already losing about, in my case, I would lose about 8 to 12 hours per week. 8 to 12 hours just on emails per week is how much SaneBox is saving me, because every single week it sends me an information on how much did it save on my emails, because I get so many emails every single day, and it organizes it. Just like all the emails you guys sent me was organized in order in a separate folder, so it doesn't cloud up my main inbox, because I only look at the main inbox from people that I need to look at. I'm not saying I not need to look at yours, but I need to organize and categorize which one is important and crucial for the business, and which one is later, which one is on this day, which one is on that day. So my inbox is always completely clean, because I have an AI system called SaneBox that cleans it up for me. I don't have any subscription, I don't have any crap in it, just the clean and clear what I need to look at. And that saves me many, many hours. So just that alone, guys, can be very dreadful and drainful. Everything, look at your emails all the time. So to give you an example, you need to use tools to get rid of the things that drain you, so you can enjoy what you actually doing and what you love to do and why you started this business. And don't get too upset on the journey. You just have to use and like the journey and go on and look for the future and work towards it. And each individual thing and obstacle that you're gonna face that drains you and wants you to quit is just going to A, make you stronger, and B, it's just going to able to make you get ready, and you just try to enjoy it. So even though if it's bad, just laugh at it, get over it, because if you just sit down and be sad about it and not doing anything, it's not gonna help you. So question 2 is it a good time to open up a fitness studio right now, given the bubble? So you guys, I wrote an article about the fitness bubble. You guys read it because I got lots of questions about it. So the question was, because there are so many people who are about to buy a franchise, open up their own fitness studio, strike out on their own from a gym and create their own studio. And the question was, is it a good time? Well, that's not really the right question. Is it a good time for you? Would be a better question. Or if because there's no such a thing as good or bad time. I mean, there's always, good or bad. But if your business is different than any other fitness studio out there, then yes, it's a good time to open up a studio, even if it's the bubble. Because not better, different. So, well, two things. One, you don't want to copy just somebody else and recreate their studio, because that's never going to work. I mean, it will eventually, until you go out of business when the bubble crashes and people don't want to train, but it needs to be completely different. And then you have a good business, open it up, and then you're good to go. But of course, do your due diligence, which I have already created an episode about this, and I'm going to create a class on our university for gym owners that you guys can have. And in that, I explain exactly when, how, and where to open, and what are the due diligence that you need to do in order to able to open up your business successfully and make profit in month one. So that will be my number one goal, to create a class for you guys pretty soon. But in the meantime, one thing is where you don't want to be. You don't want to be the middle. The middleman is the worst. You either want to be on the bottom of the barrel, meaning the cheapest that it can be, although now it could be really tough. But if you're able to figure it out how to be the cheapest and give them the most services, and the best service, then you're gonna win. You're gonna have a gold mine. Now, if you, or the opposite of that, you create the absolutely amazing and charge premium, the highest price ever, which is basically what we do, then you're also going to kill it. But in between, in the middle, it's the worst. You don't want to be there, because especially in this bubble, because everybody is there and nobody's making money. It might look like from the outside that they're making money, but in reality, they do not. So make sure that you're either on the bottom or on the top, okay? And then it's a good time to open up a studio. That's basically the bottom line, okay? Question 3. Question 3 is similar to question 2. But this is about strictly when to open up a second studio. I get this question all the time, like all the time. And what it is, because so many people have one studio, and what I have learned, that most people want to open up their second studio to make more money. And right away, because their first one is not as good. But guys, if your first one is not as good, the second one won't be better. So you have to make sure that the first one is actually completely packed. And we're going to talk about that in a minute. So to do your due diligence when to open up the second one. So, for example, want to open up your second studio. First of all, why do you want to do that? What's your end game, right? What's the goal? Answer that question, put it on paper, because if there's no good reason, why do you want to open it? You can always grow the online game, right? And the online game is right now huge. But let's put down the due diligence on paper when to open up a second one, okay? So the first one is absolutely full, and there's no more room, no more space. You're completely using up all the space at the studio. So is there a chance to expand maybe a little bit bigger? Or you don't want to, because your model is, let's say, 750 square feet, and that's how you operate, and now you're just gonna ready to open up a second location. If that's the answer, then go ahead and do that, right? If it's completely full and it's making tons of money, then yes. But what does that mean? It's making tons of money. Is it the right amount of money? And is it enough money? Are you breaking even? Are you able to pay yourself 6-7 figures? I'm sorry, it's probably 6-5 figures. But if it's one single studio. But the question is, so did you max out everything? Do you have supplement sales, clothing sales, coaching, online coaching? There are so many hybrid models right now. We're even launching ours. We've been working on it for a year. But the question is, did you max out the vertical growth of your studio yet? Or not? If it's completely maxed out and you're making 6-7 figures with the studio as a revenue, then it's probably a good idea to open up or look into the second one, because now you can grow vertically, right? Horizontally. But the question is also that if you go away for a whole month from your current business, the single studio that you have, and when you come back and you didn't touch a single email, you were just gone for a whole month, will the studio be there to that day, or it's struggling? And even better question, not only it's there, but it should have made more money while you were gone, because your employees know their job and they don't want to disappoint you. And that's what happened when we left for a month vacation. And we did that multiple times. And that's how I knew we can open up the next and next and next studios. For example, when we opened up our third studio, I wasn't even there for the opening. As soon as it opened, I was gone for a month in Europe. And then I came back a month after and it was thriving. But anyways, what I'm trying to tell you guys, if you're afraid to take a month off vacation, go ahead and do that, because that's going to prepare you way more than for the bad than you think when you open up your second studio what to expect. Because if you are still working in the studio 1, then you should not open up studio 2. So the point is, you need to be able to take out yourself, especially from the floor, unless you just do it for fun. But if you're contributing good amount of money for studio 1, then it's not good. You need to replace yourself first, completely get out of studio 1, have enough money in the bank to be able to pay for the whole year for the second studio if something goes bad, and then have enough income that even if it's over a year, then the first studio can pay the second studio completely and live off of it, right? Make sure you have those things. And then, only then, completely take yourself out from studio 1 and go into full studio 2. Not training clients, that's not the solution, and not running the studio. Just, of course, be there, set it up right, coach, train, get ready all of the employees there, not you being in there doing the work, but getting ready everyone for that studio. And then that studio 2 is ready, and now you have the full amazing recipe of how to create your second studio. So if you're able to do that, if you're there, that you don't have to be actually at the studios, then go ahead and open up a second one. I have met so many gym owners who have one single studio for over 10-15 years. They're working in the business, and their number one thing when they have told me that, Daniel, how do you do that? You have like 6 studios. How do you work at each one of them? And I'm like, no. I don't work at any of them. I'm right now in New York, of course, but because I'm scouting out for more areas, living areas for employees, because we pay for the living here, and looking for apartments and all these things. So I spend lots of time in New York right now, but I haven't even been to some of our studios since last year, which is pretty freaking crazy. But not because I don't want to, it's just because I don't need to, but I meet all those people, there's phones, you know, and the company is just growing by itself. It's a living organism. But what I'm trying to say is that you guys have told me that what happens is that what you're thinking is, man, I don't know if I should open up a second studio because Studio A is here at this city and Studio B would be here at this city. That's about 45 minutes. I don't know if I could commute between 2 and clients back and forth. Wrong, because you shouldn't. You shouldn't even think about that, because you shouldn't be the one commuting back and forth. You should have employees there, you should have employees here, and you should be in an office or at home, work from your office, and make sure everything is good. Look at the trigger points, look at the numbers, analyze everything, and know what you need to work on instead of working inside of your business. And then you can open up more and more. But if you are thinking of working in Studio 1 and Studio 2 and Studio 3 and all over, then you are not ready to open up studios. Okay, guys? Hope I was clear. But don't think of that you are going to work in the next studios that you open up, because if you do, then you shouldn't open up a studio. That's the bottom line. Question 4. How do you find trainers? And that usually follows up with, there are no good employees out there, and that is why I'm never going to hire a trainer. And that is bad. That's what people are saying. So here's the thing. Before we even start, guys, what you're saying that there's no good talent out there, I can tell you right now that the trainers that we hire and the trainers that I meet, they always say that there is just no good employer out there. What a surprise, right? So you say that there is no good employee out there, they say there is no good employer out there. And that's the mindset you need to change. It's not about what you want, it's about what they want. And then you need to know what they want, what they look for, and that's what you need to show on your social media, or in your business, and between all your employees. And that's what they need to live and show as well, so they would attract the same amazing team into your team. For example, we have like 6 employees who came from the referrals from internally, so they're friends because they saw how much fun they have and they love their job and all this, so all their friends start coming into our company. And that's what I'm trying to say is, the number one question is, why should they work for you? Is the number one question. Not where to find good talent. Is the first question is, why the hell should they work for you? Are you a KPI online, key person of influence? Or do you have a good reputation? Do you have a following? Do you have something to show for? Do your employees currently love you? Do your clients currently love you? Is it a good environment to come in? Are you knowing that when you hire someone, it's not that you are the boss, it's they are the boss and you're technically working for them. Because if it's the other way around, it's not gonna work out. I tell you that right now, and you're gonna go through so many employees. So everybody has that misconception that, all right, now I made it, I've been a trainer forever, I hired my first employees, and now I'm the boss. You do this, 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 this. Oh, it's not done, what the hell is this? Right? That's not it. It's need to be about them, what they want to accomplish, and then you become the coach, the leader, whose number one job is to show the employees the path where they need to go, the destination that we talked about, how to get there, and give everything possible to give them to get to that path so they can be successful. And unfortunately, most people hire the employees, don't give them any training, and basically just get on board and tell them to go figure it out. Even big companies, unfortunately, and that's a huge problem. We spend literally 3 months on every single employee to make sure they are ready before we leave them alone. And then after that, there's ongoing education, and there are weekly meetings, monthly meetings, and quarterly meetings, and reviews, and all that to make sure that everybody's happy and they're working towards their goal. So what I don't recommend is what I see most gym owners do, which you guys see me at the speaking engagements. I always bring this up because this is a big deal. It's called the Siegel Management. Do you guys know what that is? The Siegel Management is basically, you hire someone, you let them basically be right there, and then you leave for weeks, months. You just walk out, right? Like I'm walking out, I left. And then you realize that there is basically nothing, right? Not everything is bad, nothing is going on. They don't doing their job. So you come back in like, fuck, all this, what is this, what's going on? And basically, you just tell them that they suck after not even being around for them and help them daily, weekly, monthly. And then that's called the Siegel Management, because you basically leave, come back all loud, make lots of noise, shit on everybody, and then leave again. And they come back again. And that's dreadful, that's horrible, and your employee is going to quit. Now, second, so you already know that you need to give them everything, but how to attract these people, right? So, number one, amazing employees, A players, never looking for a job. And even if they do, they're not going to look for very long. So, you need to be able to attract them while you're at the different jobs. So many of our employees came from Equinox and so many other amazing locations and gyms, and they had amazing jobs that paid even more than we do, but that's not what they came to us. Because the number one excuse that I also hear from you guys that ask me that I'm just a small gym, I cannot afford to pay our employees a lot like you do. And I'm like, dude, that's how I started, just like you. And I couldn't either, and I would want to pay them even more. But the thing is it's not really the money why they come to work with you. It's the possibility of the money, and it's the possibility of the future, it's the growth potential, and the growth of far, far away, that sky's the limit. That's what they come for you. And if you're not able to show it to them, then they're gonna just leave because they're gonna get bored at your job. So that's the other thing. And then you always need to hire. Do you guys got that? Always hire. Meaning, you have a big sign out in the window. Just kidding, don't do that anymore. But have it online. You always need to have a hiring ad, because you never know when the A player that you're looking for is coming up. So you need to have basically like a whole system when they go through their own hiring process. We'll give you an example. You might have seen it in Gym Owner Monthly magazine. I wrote like for 4 months in a row about hiring process. And it's a very, very popular article that I've been writing. Everybody's been sharing it around on the internet, so you need to check it out. But what I'm saying in there is that the hiring ad needs to be like this long, right? And if they don't read it, then those are not your people. So in our case, we hide lots of little things that they need to do before they send in their resume or cover letter or whatever they're sending, right? And we tell them to go to Instagram, send us a 15-second video, do X, Y, and Z and all these things. And if they don't do all those things, we won't even look at their emails, right? So now I just save you tons of time, because you usually say, I just don't have time to go through and meet all these people and before, to kiss lots of frogs before I find my prince. Well, let them do it by self. Automate it, meaning you tell them X, Y, and Z that they need to do. And if they have done it, that's the only time when you're able to actually let them come and see you. So once they went through, then you're good. For example, we have like 200 to 300 resumes each month that come through our company, right? But only about 2 to 3 out of the 200 to 300 come to my desk. That's it, any given time, because they have to follow the process and go through, and so many drops down. But that is why our hiring process is so great and being featured in so many magazines and even in the news and media and so many places, because we literally do all those crazy things to make sure we only get the right people into our door. And that's what you also need to come up with. And I'm also creating a class on that in our online university, so make sure you stay tuned for that as well. But so you're always hiring because you never ever want to hire on, what do you call it? On stress? Is it stress? Like on need, there we go, on need. Because when you're hiring in need, that, oh my God, we are so booked, we need somebody desperately, that's never gonna end up well because you're gonna make a bad hiring decision. And that is why you need to hire way before you need somebody. Not when you're in need, way before that. Plan ahead, know exactly when you need someone. If you need somebody you think in the next 6 months, you start hiring right now. It might take you 6 months to find the right person. Because do not hire just because you're in need. That's worse than actually hiring the right person, okay? So even when you go out there for a dinner, that server who comes up to you and being really nice and amazing, and you're just like, oh my God, I love this guy. Johnny is so amazing. Man, babe, Johnny is so great. Johnny is, man, I wish he was a trainer. Hello? He might be a trainer, or you might bring him in, pay for his certification, because he has everything that he needs. Skill can be always taught, but personality cannot. And if Johnny is the best personality for your company, then you need to hire Johnny. And that's how you find A players. We do this all the time. We don't hire for skills and resumes, just to tell you guys. I never even looked at a resume for the past 8 years, okay? So I meet the person and I care about the person and I see where we can put them into the company, into the right seats, right places, and that's how we hire. And that's what you need to do, and always have your eyes open for the right person wherever you're going, because you never know when you meet your next employee. And that's how you find the right people, and not by looking at the resumes and judging people through the computer, and by creating systems that pre-qualifies them before you even meet them. Okay, guys? Next and last question, the fifth one. So the fifth question was a personal question that is come up many times. I guess because I also speak about this at speaking engagements, and people always asking about my morning routine. So what is my current morning routine? So that shifted a little bit just because of, I'm living in New York now and Florida, Tampa, Florida. Tampa, Florida is where I have my house and our headquarters as well. And right now in New York City, because we're just expanding into Manhattan to open up new studios, I also have a rental here and live here. So basically I live in 2 different places. And the thing is, my morning routines are now kind of like similar, but at first it was completely different, but the daily routines for sure. So the routines are completely different here in Manhattan versus what it is in Tampa, Florida, because here I don't drive a car. There I drive a car, so I listen to Audible as I go to different places, meetings and everything. Here I need to do that when I'm basically biking, right? Or there's so many different things. But as far as for morning routines, I still get up at right now around 3:45. Usually I set up my alarm for basically 3:45, and I do lots of my reading for the first 2 hours in the morning. So all the way to like 6:30-ish, I usually read and make notes and just plan out my day. And probably around 7 a.m. I either, dependent on what I set up for that day and what day that is, because it changes daily, but I either do go through my emails, because in the emails I have a separate folder that is basically my to-do list, but I also have my journal, because I journal every single day. So I get up around 3:45, read for about 2 hours, 2.5 hours, plan out my days, have my espresso, but first I have basically 3 glasses of water. I drink lots of water when I get up, and then get dressed, of course, and read, and then have espresso. And then after that, either or go into work and then work on the number one thing that I need to get done before people get up usually. So all the way to around 8 a.m. or around 8:30 a.m. I usually work on the computer on number one priorities or look at numbers. And then after that, I usually go either have already meetings at 9 and 10 and 11 and everything, but I also make sure that the most important meetings that requires the most willpower and requires the most brain power is usually at 10 a.m. or before. And if it's something crazy pressing, I usually don't make decisions in the afternoon, because my worst times, analyze my body, my worst times to actually make decisions or work or even have meetings is around 3 p.m. So for me, 3 to basically 2, I would say even 2 to 5 p.m. is I'm already going downhill. So 2 to 5 is basically the time when I do like work that just work, right? Easy, whatever. And then and I also from 5 to 8, I also am pretty good at working. So I have meetings usually there, or I work on other different stuff. Writing, I like writing at night too, so that, which is kind of weird. But anyways, my morning routine again is getting up really early every single day, 3:45, and I fast. I don't eat till usually 1 p.m. Monday. I don't eat at all, and then basically that's it. I mean, it's read, journal, plan out my day, and basically every single day is different dependent on, you know, how it's going. But on top of that, I also usually try to have 50% of my day open, because you never know when the next thing come up that my company needs to push on, so I have time, clear my schedule, so I can do stuff on it, and then I can meet people, I can go to events if I need to, and I can fit in podcasts, speaking engagement, and so many things. So it's also important that you're able to be flexible, and you never know when your team needs you for something. And I'm also trying to be available as much as I can. And basically that's it. Hope this episode helped you guys. If you don't forget, if you have questions, please send it to us. Oh, and one more thing. I just want to thank you guys so much for all of your support, because we were in the almost 150, we were 165, I believe, but in the top 200 podcasts out of thousands and thousands of podcasts, we were in the top 200. So thank you so much for all the downloads, all the shares, all the listens and watches. I really appreciate you. Make sure, if you haven't rated it, please rate the episode. Please leave a comment. Please message me. I will help you as much as I can. And stay tuned, of course, for the next episodes every Monday at noon. And I look forward to seeing you guys next week. Thank you so much.